Hey everybody, welcome to Visible Live, Nicola Moras Live, Visible Season 5, Episode number 7. Can't believe how fast this has been going, and I'm really excited to share some different thinking, I guess, with you today. So one of the things that I know is really important both for me as a consumer and for other people who are out there being marketed to, being sold to on a daily basis, I think is actually not much worse than feeling like you haven't been heard or you haven't been acknowledged. So a recent example of this, we walked into a car yard a couple of weeks ago. Good morning, Judith. And the gentleman, we were walking around, and the gentleman didn't pay any attention to us. We actually had to go and approach him asking for assistance, and he didn't even ask one question related to, what are you looking for? Why is that important? Or anything like that. No, to me, I immediately got my back up. I've been working in customer service since I was about 15 years old. So it's one of my bugbears, actually. I really hate walking into stores being ignored. And I also really hate being spoken at versus people trying to engage in a conversation with me. So there's like a double-edged thing going on there. Hey, Catherine, good morning. So I was kind of been thinking about what is it that really makes us feel heard? And the thing that makes us feel heard is often when we get the opportunity to contribute or be a part of a conversation. So it's really interesting with how we can actually do this in marketing, right? Because I don't know about you, but I see it all the time in my newsfeed where people are selling the latest gadget, selling the latest hack, like this is how you can transform your Facebook ads, this, that, and the other, where really the things that really get me, I'm trying to find a device and I'm talking on it, the things that really get me captured, engaged, and reading, right, and or watching, if it's a video, is where I kind of feel like someone really gets me. And it might be, if you're a personal trainer, that you might talk to someone about how there's not much worse than waking up feeling lethargic and kind of dragging your backside out of your bed, not knowing what to do in terms of exercise or nutrition, and feeling like you're trying to always freaking navigate this world, this overwhelming world of what's right, what's wrong, what information should I listen to, what should I filter out. So the other thing to bear in mind is, that we really want to be able to make sure that we're able to join, and this is where it becomes a little bit fun. We've got to be able to join the conversation that the people who are listening to us, who are watching us, or who we want to listen and watch us or read our stuff, we want them to be able to feel like we get them. Right? I mean, Catherine and Kelly and Tamara and Judith, you guys come back day after day after day. And I know some of you message me saying, oh my gosh, it's like you're inside my head today. Thank you so much. So this is what we want to create for your people. So there's a few ways that I wanted to share with you today that you can do this. Now, I think the main thing here is that we need to talk. Now, when I say talk, it's text, it's written, it's video, it's like all of the audio, it's all of the above, right? Just bearing that in mind. So the thing that we want to look at is having people being able to consume our information in the way that they best consume information, as well as the ability to be able to enter the conversation into that people are having in their head. So the first thing that you need to do in terms of applying this into your digital strategy, in terms of applying this into your marketing, and actually this will apply even if it is you showing up to a networking event and building conversation, right? The first thing that we've got to do is ask a question in our head about what's going on for that person. So you've got to know who your audience is, yeah? That's kind of like the first no-brainer thing that we need to talk about. You've got to know who your audience is. So ask a question, and it might be, it's an imaginary question, in order for you to be able to create content in whichever way, shape, or form, which we'll talk about as well, in whichever way, shape, or form that is applicable for you. So ask a question, and that might be, what is this person feeling right now? It's 11:08 on Tuesday morning. Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they feeling stressed? Are they feeling fat and tired and sluggish and stressed and anxious and overwhelmed? Are they thinking about Christmas? Are they worrying about gifts? Are they, what is going on for them? Are they stressing about the relationship and how that's going to be over Christmas? Or are they worrying about their mother-in-laws or father-in-laws or family? What's really going on? So ask yourself that first. And then always, before you start going out and populating social media with your noise, right, make sure that you're taking the time to think about, well, what does this person really need to hear today? So that's the first thing. You've got to know who your audience is. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Joe. Lovely to see you. Happy Tuesday. The next thing that's really important that often gets overlooked in the world of social media is that we've got to remember that some people also take in information in a different way to perhaps what you might. So we've got we'll talk about the three main learning modalities. And I look at this with a marketing lens, a digital marketing lens. And it's where we go, okay, so how can we provide information in a way that helps someone to learn from us based on their learning style? So there are three main learning styles. We've got the visual people who are, they like to look at stuff. They like to watch videos. They like to look at the photos. They're super visual. Now, they're also probably going to be really motivated by a picture, like an ideal picture that might inspire or motivate them, right? So this is what it's going to look like for you. This is how you're going to be able to see your life changing. If you imagine in your mind's eye what this might look like for you, right? That would really help a visual learner to construct an image in their head if you're giving a different way if you're disseminating information in a different kind of way. It's also really helpful if you're able to show them, like say, look, here's the book. It's a visual example of what it is that they need to be doing or something like that. The next main one is auditory. So auditory is listening, right? So a lot of people will really resonate with listening to you versus watching you or reading something or downloading something or whatever else, like a PDF or a document. So this is where it's really important. This is why video is so great, because you can have a video, some of you are probably doing it now, where you've got your video playing maybe on your phone. I do this all the time. Video playing on my phone and I'm working away on my computer. So I'm kind of doing what I'm doing and I'm also listening over here. So lots of people in your audience will be really interested in listening to you. This is where podcasts are excellent, right? It's where audiobooks are really excellent. If you've written a book, go and create the audio for it. It's where video is really great because they don't have to watch the screen in order for them to learn and consume that information. The third type are the kinesthetic people. Now, these people are really kind of touchy-feely people. They want to feel like you get them, right? They want something in their hand. They want to, they want to print and download stuff, right? So as an example, what I really love to do is I'm a real paper person. I find that, and you guys will have seen this when you watch me live, I'll often be taking notes to show you a picture because that writing helps me to process information so that I can then turn it into a picture to share with you guys, right? So the kinesthetic people are the people that really love the books. They'll put the tabs in it, they'll highlight it, they'll print off the worksheets and work off the worksheets. They want to feel like they're a part of the learning. some of the clues with what you might find that you are is if you're sitting watching someone, or it might be a webinar, it might be at a live event. Are you sitting there like kind of playing with stuff? Are you sitting playing with your pencil or your piece of paper? My oldest daughter, I believe she's a very kinesthetic learner, and we had a really great teacher for her at one point. She said, look, you know what? If your daughter needs to sit there and tear pieces of paper up or play with them or get a little stress ball or play with blue tack, go for it. Because it helps to unlock, for the kinesthetic people, fiddling around with stuff can really help to unlock that learning center in their brain. So if we think about your marketing, most people, when we look at our posts that we put up, if you're thinking about the videos that we do, we're primarily working towards serving the visual people and the auditory people. But what about the kinesthetic people? Like these people often in social media, they kind of get left out. So we've got to work hard, or harder sometimes, to help them really feel like they're a part of our content. So this is where you can do things like, guys, go and get a piece of paper, go and get a pen and write this down. Or go and copy this diagram. I'm going to draw a diagram for you and I want you to copy this down for me. Good morning, Tamara. So it can be a way, well, we've just got to be mindful that we've got to have a way of being able to kind of connect and engage with all three of those main learning modalities. There are more, but they're the three primary ones. So that's how you would apply that into social media. So we've got our visuals, which are really great for the pictures and the text. The auditory people and the visual people actually will really love the video that you do because they can get a sound for your voice, a feeling for your voice and everything like that. And then the kinesthetics people, get them writing stuff down, get them actually like doing something with their hands so that they can have that information really kind of going in. How do you apply this into your bigger overall strategy? So, you know, probably, hopefully, unless you're new to me, like, hello, my name is Nicola. But if you've been hanging around for any length of time, you know that I'm also really big on not just using social media for your brand awareness and for posting content and creating that digital channel essentially for you. I'm also really passionate about you guys being able to generate leads, grow your list, grow your email database. Because if Facebook goes down tomorrow, we're all screwed, number one. Well, we're not really. But number two, you want to have a safety net or an alternative way of being able to connect with people outside of your Facebook page. Facebook are notorious for closing down accounts, shutting down advertising accounts, closing down pages. Someone could say that they own your profile. There could be a big spat about your name, for example. So you want to be able to protect yourself, and part of that insurance policy creation is around generating leads. So again, if we think about this from a learning modality perspective, if you're only ever offering people a download, like a PDF guide download, you are missing out on the people that really want to listen to you and hear your voice. You are potentially also losing a lot of the visual people who really like to watch you, analyze you, engage with you from a visual perspective. Yes, they can read, but they also really like movement, right? They really like movement. So if that's all you're doing, then your kinesthetic people are happy. They're happy as clams because they've got something to download. They can write on stuff. They can highlight. They can scrunch it up on a ball. They can do whatever it is that they want to do. So we want to make sure that when you're putting out your things in terms of lead generation, you are not restricting yourself just to a PDF or a book or an audio series or a video series. So the way that I like to do it is this. If you are going to build out a checklist, a template, a guide, a book, anything like that, then please make sure you also, number one, allow people to download it so they're not just looking at it on a screen, right? That's something that infuriates the heck out of me. Don't just give it to me on a screen. Let me download it. Let me write on it. Let me play. Let me mess around with it. You might create a worksheet and with a video that explains how to do the worksheet, how to actually explain what it is that they need to do, why it's important, where it is that they're going to find it, how they're going to apply it, and all of that kind of thing. Yeah. So that way they've got a video that they can listen to you with and they can watch you. So that keeps our visual people and our auditory people happy. And our kinesthetic people have got our checklist or download or book or ebook or whatever to download as well. Another thing that you might do if you're a podcast person is go and create the audio. That's excellent. Perhaps you can also create a PowerPoint with the audio overlaid and have it available in a different format. If you are doing a webinar, perhaps you can say to people, and I say this all the time when I'm running my webinars, guys, make sure you've got a piece of paper and a pen handy. I really want you to be taking notes. Write this down. I'll say, write this down. If you take nothing else away from this today, go ahead and write this down. That really helps the kinesthetic people. Yeah. The other thing that you want to interlace through all of your things, and please let me know if this is making sense. I really would love some visible engagement this morning as we race to go live. They even checked me in early, which is really lovely. The other thing that you want to do is interlace the different language through your discussion that you're doing. So how we look at this, so we've got the visual people, again, it's like, does this look like it makes sense, everybody? Can you see how this will play out for you? Can you imagine what the future might look like? You know, if you see the worst case scenario, what does that look like? Right? They're all visual cues that will help your visual people or your your really right brain creative people. It'll help them create an image in their head. And they'll think about it. Like if I say to you, imagine your most ideal future where you're visible, you're reaching your audience, you're getting leads, you've got clients, you're doing the work that you're here to do. You know, what does that look like for you? Really helps people to go, oh yeah, I can kind of imagine what that might be like. How exciting. Your auditory people, the cues for helping them to embed a learning are things like, how does that sound? You know, can you hear what I'm saying with this? If someone were to tell you something that you could then apply, you know, what would that be? Right? Because then it's them imagining what that sounds like, and then they can then either speak it or they can imagine it in their head. It helps to join the dots for them. The kinesthetic people are very much driven by feeling. So how would that make you feel? You know, if this is what you were experiencing, who else would be around you and how would that feel for you? Is that making sense? You know, does it feel like it makes sense? Does that feel like this is something that you can do? Right? So that's really how you can apply a solid communication strategy into your social media, your digital marketing in such a way that really gears into and talks into all of the learning, those three main learning modalities. And actually, if you do those things that I've said, it'll tie into the other ones as well. So we've got it for your social media. So it's not just images that you want to post. It's not just text. It's also really important that we post our videos and so that people can hear us and do what they need to do. In terms of your lead magnets and building your list, if you're thinking about building out a PDF because, you know, they're quick and easy, whatever, or a magazine like Catherine, then have ideas or things that you can utilize that will also help the visual and the auditory people as well. So maybe a bonus video that goes along with it, explaining it, stuff like that. If you're doing a video, build in a bonus checklist. yeah, or a worksheet or something like that. It doesn't have to be massive, guys. You just don't want to cut out a third or 2/3 of your audience because you're not speaking their language. And of course, the main thing that I said right at the very, very start is that you've really got to understand who your audience is and making sure that they feel like you get them. And the only way that they can feel like you get them is by, asking questions. So Christine, I'm glad that makes sense. Thank you, Catherine. Kelly said, get out of my house. So, if we're looking at it in that way, you've got to know who your audience is. Hey, Tamara, good morning. You've got to know who your audience is. Otherwise, the risk that you run otherwise is you have an experience like we had in the car yard where I've got my back up already. I'm just like, you know what, you're going to have to freaking work hard for this because I'm really pissed off. If I don't feel heard, if I don't feel acknowledged, I feel like there's a whole bunch of assuming going on and that someone hasn't even got the decency to take the time to ask me what's important. And that just shits me to tears. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're finding out the problems that your audience has, their goals, their dreams, their desires, and then delivering your help in a way that works for all of the learning styles. So that's that today. Yay, from Sydney. I've got a really big week. I'm really excited. So I don't know how our lives are going to go on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 9. We'll just kind of play it by ear and I'm sure we'll be fine. Next Tuesday, we are talking about on Nicola Moras Live, Visible, we're talking about project certainty. Now, this is something that I'm really excited and freaking passionate about. I don't believe that there should be any more faking it till you make it. I think that is a bunch of bullshit and it really sets people up for imposter syndrome. It sets people up for striving for perfection and I don't want that for you. So I'm going to talk with you next week about how you can really project certainty through your social media marketing, through your digital marketing, through your emails, through your blogs, through your video blogs, through everything that it is that you're doing. And it's got this really awesome flow-on effect, right? When you are able to really embrace solidly your stuff, your mission, your message, you're able to deliver it consistently and with certainty, that's when people start to pay attention. That's when you start to build visibility. That's when you start to have people say, wow, did you see that video that Joe did the other day? You should totally go and check that out. Like, she just freaking nailed it. So we'll talk about that next week and we'll go from there. So if you need more help with this, so you can access the book. It's just go to the page and you can find somewhere how to do that. The other thing that that's right. I'm like, well, there was something else I wanted to talk with you about today. Running a webinar next week. I'll put some posts up on the page and it's all about going from invisible to visible. It's a 2-hour masterclass. I will let you know how you can come and hang out. It is happening next Thursday because next Wednesday is my birthday. So we'll hang out next Thursday for a couple of hours helping you get more visible or get visible or just get out there and start making stuff happen. Really shifting from dreamer to online freaking rock star. Have a great day, everybody. My name is Nicola Moras. If this has been helpful, please share it far and wide. Let me know that it's been helpful because sometimes it can feel like you're talking into this, right? Which is just a great big view of not much. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.